All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're going to be unpacking a deeply compelling, incredibly rigorous account by an architect named Ryan. It's titled The Cost of Clarity. And what's really fascinating about this source material is that it is definitely not your standard run-of-the-mill breakup story. No, it's a meticulous, almost clinical examination of a 28-month relationship. We're going to break down the exact mechanics of what we call blind trust. Relying entirely on Ryan's own documented account, we're going to explore exactly how illusions are built and, honestly, the true price of finally seeing clearly. So the catalyst for this entire analysis comes down to a single text message. Quote, "I never stopped loving him. I just used you." According to the source, these are the exact, literal words Ryan discovered on his partner Maya's phone. It's just a brutal, completely unfiltered combination of words, right? And finding it completely rewrote his entire understanding of the past 3 years of his life. And notice the precision of this data point. 11:47 p.m. Ryan emphasizes this specific documented timestamp because the context is just wild. This message was sent to an ex-boyfriend named Ethan on a Tuesday night while Ryan was asleep in the very next room. Literally 11:47 p.m. That is the exact minute the reality he fully believed in was proven to be entirely false. Now, this jarring discovery leads Ryan to pose a foundational question to all of us. He asks, have you ever realized you were the only one in a happy memory who meant it? It's such a powerful pivot. He moves away from just the raw shock of discovering those texts, and he shifts into a much broader, highly structured analysis of the relationship itself. Part 1. Building the Illusion, 28 Months of Blind Trust. So, acting very much like an architect, Ryan mapped out the verifiable milestones that built his life with Maya. They met at a housewarming party. By month 8, they're signing a shared apartment lease together. Fast forward to month 18, he had actually purchased an engagement ring and was keeping it hidden. And then we hit month 28, the Tuesday night discovery. He presents these facts specifically to show the sheer depth of his commitment. Every single action was like a brick in a future he was building. But as it turned out, it was built on an entirely unverified foundation. But, as any good architect knows, there are always structural warning signs, right? Ryan methodically tracked the verifiable red flags in a sort of retrospective audit. Month 7 rolls around and he notices a different, almost performative laugh when she was talking on the phone. Month 20, there are these unexplained late nights at her home studio. By month 22, a distinct, noticeable shift in physical affection. According to the text, Ryan felt all of these things as they happened, but he consciously chose to dismiss those data points. Why? To protect the relationship. Which brings us to a really crucial takeaway from this phase. The bargain blind love makes trades clarity for continuity. This is Ryan's core thesis on exactly why we ignore red flags. We just stop auditing our partners. We file away the weird inconsistencies because ultimately we prioritize an assumed, projected future over the reality sitting right in front of us. And, it totally works until the bill comes due. Part 2. The Corner Table, a confrontation of competing realities. Okay, so rather than reacting immediately in a fit of anger, Ryan actually waited 3 whole weeks to understand the full picture. He set up a dinner at their usual West Village Italian restaurant. Now, just consider the stark contrast in expectations at that table. Maya arrives wearing a green dress, fully 100% expecting a marriage proposal. Meanwhile, Ryan arrives with a single screenshot of the truth saved on his phone. It is a complete head-on collision of 2 entirely different worlds, sitting at the exact same table. When Ryan placed his phone face up on the table, Maya's reaction was documented exactly. Her response, quote, "How long have you known?" Notice what isn't there. There's absolutely no denial. There's no crazy maze of deflection. The source specifically highlights her immediate shift to reality the second the incontrovertible proof was presented to her. The illusion just instantly collapsed. And Ryan's objective assessment of her behavior in that moment was incredibly pragmatic. He told her, "You wanted to keep everything running smoothly." He doesn't paint Maya as this malicious cartoon villain. The source concludes that she wasn't intentionally cruel. She simply wanted to avoid the inconvenience of the truth. Basically, she wanted the practical stability of Ryan and the emotional connection of Ethan, simultaneously, without either of them finding out. Part 3. The Aftermath. Recalibration and Reality. So let's dive into how Ryan systematically dismantled this projected future. It was a highly pragmatic, step-by-step process. Step 1, he moved to a smaller, single apartment. literally a physical recalibration of his life's actual dimensions. Step 2, he reclaimed his focus, dedicating his full, undivided attention back to his architectural firm. And step 3, he went on to design an award-winning community library. The source clearly shows Ryan channeling all of that reclaimed observation and energy into verifiable, highly successful professional work. Interestingly, a big part of this objective recalibration involved Ethan, the other man. Ryan categorized them with this kind of cold logic. Ethan is simply the pre-existing condition. Maya, on the other hand, is the broken promise. Ryan explicitly removes the blame from the third party here. Ethan didn't break into his life and violate his trust. Ethan hadn't made any promises to him. Maya had. It's a completely logical, completely objective assignment of accountability based solely on who actually owed him the truth. Now, the main physical artifact of this entire ordeal was the engagement ring. Its original engraving was a line from a favorite poem. It was this beautiful object crafted with absolute sincerity, but of course, it was made for a future that didn't actually exist in reality. But here's the kicker. Instead of just throwing it away or returning it out of bitterness, Ryan chose to rework it. He took it back to the jeweler and replaced that poetic line with a brand new quote, "I was always blind, but now I see." He totally transformed the ring. It went from a symbol of a false future into a permanent, verifiable reminder of his hard-won clarity.
Part 4. Redefining active trust. The final lesson.
Based entirely on his retrospective, Ryan completely redefines the whole concept for us. Trust is the decision to remain present and keep seeing someone clearly with attention. It is not the suspension of observation. True love, according to the source material, requires continuous, loving observation. It means actually noticing when something shifts and having the courage to ask the gentle question, rather than just blindly relying on faith. It's a real game changer in how we think about relationships. And that brings us to our ultimate takeaway today. We're going to end with this exact question, drawn directly from Ryan's epilogue. Are you paying attention to the people you love, or have you mistaken trust for blindness? It is a deeply provocative challenge for all of us to audit our own relationships and make absolutely sure our foundation is built on verifiable clarity and not just continuity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this structured look at the anatomy of trust gives you something real to think about today.